Dave is a living legend for the AT in Maine. I mean, he pretty much laid out the trail in Maine, so he has vast knowledge of where the trail is now, but also where it used to be. Anytime at an executive committee meeting that, a question is asked about the history of the trail or what was decided when, I mean, Dave has the exact date and the answer to all those questions. I mean, everybody just turns and looks at Dave.
I love the woods. I'm really fond of the woods. It isn't always quiet. Sometimes it's windy, sometimes it's blustery. It doesn't matter. It's a sense of renewal of spirit, solitude, just, I talk to squirrels. I talk to moose if I see them. I have seen weasels hunting at night when I've been walking the trail with a headlamp. I've seen porcupines crawl over the deacon seat into the shelter and go under the bunk and worry about stepping on them when I got up in the morning. Being in the woods is essentially part of my character and need.
Until very recently, he would carry a chainsaw for 5 to 6 miles in a day up here in these mountains, which I find absolutely astounding. I have trouble going a couple of miles, and I'm not nearly as old as Dave is.
So, classic example of what Dave is really like. Here we are sitting down doing an interview and talking after lunch, and Dave decided to get up and go repaint some blazes out on the trail over here. So we have no idea where he is. He's reblazing the trail somewhere.
And I'm sure the local maintainer is going to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Some time ago, I decided that outside of family that comes first and my profession came second, the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail was what I had decided to do to make a favorable difference during my life. Well, when I started, I was 14 years old. My brother was 17. Most of the group were in the 15, 16, 17-year-old range. We were all teenagers. We were driving around a World War II vintage Jeep. We used to park it at the foot of the Bigelow Range, and the squirrels would chew the rubber hoses that connected the manifold, and then it wouldn't start until we'd plug that hole with a whittled piece of wood to get enough compression to start the thing. It was a group that enjoyed doing things together, and there was a real sense of accomplishment. I mean, my personal commitment over all those years is a combination of feeling good about contributing to this magnificent project that we call the Appalachian Trail, being able to see a sense of accomplishment in a cleared trail. When I first did extensive hikes on the trail in Maine, it was common for the footpath to still be moss covered, for a lot of the rocks and roots to still be covered with what little soil we have after the continental ice sheet scraped Maine clean. We didn't have deeply eroded areas. That, of course, has changed.
The trail is very heavily used, and because of our steep terrain and thin soils, it is very susceptible to erosion. Most of the efforts to preserve and protect the trail are done by volunteers.
The volunteer maintainers and managers of the Appalachian Trail are the greatest assurance of its continuance that we could possibly have. It is the sense of ownership that volunteers have, it's the sense of dedication that volunteers have that you can't buy. You can't fire the volunteers. You can't buy them. You have to give them a reason why they want to do it and want to continue doing it. And I'm 77 going on 78. My knees don't bend as well as they used to, and I can't hike as far or as rapidly as I used to. But I designed 100 miles of the Appalachian Trail in Maine and helped to build it. And probably more than anything else, that is the lasting legacy that I would have to claim